You're listening to Mike Adams and Chris Savory, the record collectors from the BBC, between now and 9 tonight.
Phone the record collectors now on Shrewsbury, 248 321.
Well, June, did you see those very, very rare clips of Jim Croce over the holiday? It was on that video that Mike and I were talking about. That program Mike and I were talking about earlier. And there was Jim Croce was on there doing all sorts of things. And yes, we will. I don't know what Mike's got, but I know my stuff is at the moment all boxed up because I'm building a study at the moment to put my records in. So they're all boxed up, all my singles. But yes, we will play some Jim Croce. And you've also talked about Janis Ian. Well, I've already said my thoughts on... Oh, Janis Ian. Yes, we'll play some Janis Ian.
Janis Joplin,
Janis Joplin.
Yes.
I was just going to put my foot in it then. And Henry Chafin. Yes, we could play 17 by Janis Ian and one or two other things, couldn't we? Yeah, we'll see what we can do for you, love.
You are tuned to the Record Collectors, where the time is 25 minutes to 8 o'clock. We're with you through to 9 o'clock this evening. Don't forget, if you want to take part in our programme, the number is, of course, Shrewsbury. That's 0743 248 321, and we'll call you right back. This, of course, is the Pet Shop Boys, and this month's Record Collector features the Pet Shop Boys, a complete discography of all their recorded works. I'm pleased to tell you they haven't got this one, because this is the kind of programme you've got here, you see. This comes from an album which is in origin Benelux from Belgium, and this is a totally different version of West End Girls.
For better reception, tune to 96 Stereo FM.
With you in the evening, here on Shropshire Radio.
Starting this Sunday, the Shropshire Sports Challenge of 1987. 16 clubs, pubs and sporting organisations have entered teams, and in 15 weeks' time, one of them will become the sporting brains of the county. In round one, the teams taking part will be Ludlow Police and Frankton Cricket Club, and question master Mike Adams will be asking them questions such as:
which British Olympic gold medalist had a degree in economics?
And
who wrote Chariots of Fire?
And he'll be getting answers such as
Joe Davis
and
Sunil Gavaskar,
but not necessarily in that order. There's also the mystery voice round.
I have been able to do the work that I wanted to do.
Do you know who that is? Do you know which sporting event this comes from?
Almost goes for a right, held it there. Oh, and it's not there yet. It could be handball to the referee.
Or what this piece of music was the theme tune to. The answer to all these questions can be heard on round one of the Shropshire Sports Challenge 1987, starting this Sunday afternoon at 1:05 on Radio Shropshire.
Hello there. Farmgate will be back this Saturday morning at 7:30. And joining me around the table will be Ruth Griffiths, the chairman of the County NFU, and Lionel Jebb, the chairman of the Country Landowners Association, when they'll be looking how Shropshire's agriculture has fared during 1986. That's this Saturday morning at 7:30. See you then.
Searching for a sound? Shrewsbury, 248 321.
Yes, indeed, and the time now is 18 minutes to 8 o'clock here on the Record Collectors programme. Our lines are already going, so get your fingers working and we'll call you right back, and we'll try and answer your questions. Doesn't matter what they're about. It could be about rare records, could be about autographs, could be about pop magazines, books, anything to do connected with popular music from 1956 through to 1986 and every stop between. Everything from 50s rock to 80s bop. With the gruesome twosome, that's Mike and Chris.
That's right. We could even include 1987 there now, couldn't we? But I don't know if there's anything out at the moment in 1987. All the record companies come back to work on Monday, so I'm sure there'll be nice items coming out soon that'll already rise in value. Now, when we started tonight, Mike played the original version of Benny King's Stand By Me.
Top 10 smash in the United States right now.
That's it. And I told you I was going to play you a version by The Temptations, a version by James Brown, a version by Chuck Jackson. And I'll just have a look here and see how many other versions I've got. Oh, Jackie Wilson, I've got a version of him doing it here, and Billy Stewart. So let's just hear which one. Tell me which one you like at the end. This is Stand By Me.
If you love me, won't you touch my hand?
What What a record that is.
That's Stand By Me there, and originally, the original voice, the person who did everything on that, yes, whether it was Jackie Wilson, Billy Stewart, David Ruffin, Melvin Franklin, Smokey Robinson, the rest, it was all done by the big man burner, Spider Turner. There you are. Spider Turner did the lot. What a great version. Now, we've played all the versions we can of Stand By Me, and we won't play you Stand By Me again for a few months.
All right, here's a quick quiz question for you, and you know where to write to, don't you? Because I'll get a little prize. This is dead easy. Dead easy. I played you a track from Pet Shop Boys earlier on, didn't I? West End Girls, a rare take of that particular track. Now, they also had an EP issued on Polyphone, Pet Shop Boys did. I'd like to know the title of that EP. Write to Mike and Chris, or Chris and Mike, the Gruesome Twosome, care of BBC Radio Shropshire, P.O. Box 397, Shrewsbury, SY1 3TT. And we'll dig you out some real goodies there. We really will.
Yeah, that's the easy question. The hard one's coming up about 5 to 8, and at 8 o'clock, 5 minutes after that, of course, 0743 if you're in Shrewsbury, 248 321 is the phone number.
Let the man say it.
Phone the record collectors now on Shrewsbury, 248 321.
Who is that guy? Just who is he? Now, Elvis Presley fans. There was a bit of Elvis on TV over Christmas, just a little bit of it. If you blinked, you missed it. But of course, the essential Elvis Presley, a brand new LP is out. It's a gatefold LP. You know I've plugged it for the last 2 weeks ever since I had a copy. I'm not going to play a track of it tonight. I'm going to play a little bit of the blues from the King. If it feels so right, how can it be wrong? From the King, Elvis Presley, who's outsold everybody on earth. And that comes from an LP on the Canberra record label. Different one, that's slightly different. Originally issued on the Elvis Is Back LP back in 1960, and the recording sessions took place, as I recall, back in March in Nashville, 1960.
What does the original album go for then, Mike? 1960?
Yes, well, there are, in America, the United States of America, they pressed the album up with the Elvis Is Back, sort of got a gatefold sleeve to it with pictures of Presley inside, or from the army tanks around Germany, this sort of thing. Because they didn't have any new pictures of Elvis. They had the picture of Elvis then cleaning his shoes on the back of it. Trying to catch him out here, aren't you? But the front bed had a yellow square, which was blank in America because they had no idea what Elvis was going to record as soon as he got out of the army. RCA had very little left in the can of Elvis. So when he went and recorded it, they pressed all the sleeves up with all the army pictures on, you see, and they used a sticker, which they stuck on the front of the cover on the first sort of like 50,000 copies when they were shipped out to the DJs and out to the radio stations and out to main distributors, sort of thing. Now those are very rare. They're worth about £50, £60 a copy. In the United Kingdom, we already knew what the tracks were, but the first edition of that came with a large silver spot, long play. It was the first living stereo album by Elvis, the first true stereo album recorded by Elvis.
Did that have the pictures inside as well, didn't it?
It did indeed, and it had a laminated sleeve, and the original version of that, if it's in mint condition, you can expect to pay about £12 to £15 for a copy of that. But in mint condition of the first edition is very hard to find, because every track was a good one. Right, and
talking about Elvis, I've got an Elvis, how shall I say, an Elvis, I won't say impersonator, but I've got an album here called The King Does the King's Things. And this is Albert King playing and singing Elvis Presley, shall I say, hits. I won't say Elvis Presley songs, because I really think that things like he's got on here One Night of Sin and things like that were done by other people originally before Elvis. But here we are, The King Does the King's Things. And by the way, talking about Albert King, there's a new album just about to come out called The Lost Tapes, which has a lot of stuff from Stax that has never been issued before, and hopefully the record collectors will be bringing you that shortly. But here we are, The King Does the King's Thing, All Shook Up. Albert King there, All Shook Up, The King Does the King's Things. That came out on Stax originally, and the album itself these days will set you back about £10. And if you're looking for it, it's called The King Does the King's Thing, and of course it's Hound Dog, That's All Right, All Shook Up that we played, Jailhouse Rock, Heartbreak Hotel, Don't Be Cruel, One Night, Blue Suede Shoes, Love Me Tender, and it's on Stax SXATS 1017. And while I've still got breath in my body, here's the hard question for next week. You've had the easy one off, Mike. Here's the hard one, right? This is one to make you think this one, if you get it right, will be worth twice as much prize as that Pet Shop Boys one. Right, now listen, it's virtually established tradition that any record in the States that gets to number 1 in the pop charts will always at least make the top 75 in Britain. One record failed to do that this year, and possibly over the last couple of years. One record failed to do it, and it was this year. Tell me...
Last year, you mean?
Last year. Yes, I've made the mistake now.
Yeah.
1986. What record that got to number 1 in the States failed to even make the top 75 in Britain? There was only one. Which one was it?
And while you're pondering that thought, don't forget to send it to Mike and Chris, care of BBC Radio Shropshire, P.O. Box 397, Shrewsbury, SY1 3TT. Our lines are going mad, but we'll try and take as many calls as we can tonight. You're tuned to The Collectors. You may have seen, of course, the repeat of the Blue Suede Shoes show the other night on TV. Marvellous it was to see George Harrison in action again. Carl Perkins had an album issued out towards the end of last year on MCA Records. In this country anyway, and I didn't think he could actually breathe any new life into Matchbox, but I think he did. Listen to this. Matchbox from Carl Perkins. That means a lot to me, that track, Chris, because my old group 20 years ago I named after that particular track. In fact, more than 20 years ago, but won't say more than that. That's Matchbox from Carl Perkins. You're tuned to The Record Collectors. The time has just gone 8 o'clock, and I think we'll go straight into our... Why not plough into our first call, actually? Where are we going to head off to? We'll try this line here. Hello there. I'm talking to Mr. Barnett.
That's correct, yeah.
Welcome to the Record Collector programme, and a Happy New Year to you, Mr. Barnett.
And the same to you.
What can the Gruesome Twosome do for you?
What it is my father's left me some records, and they're the old 78s.
Yes.
I think they're probably just after the war they're probably produced, not quite sure. It's called Quicksilver, Bing Crosby and Andrews Sisters.
Yes.
I'm trying to find out if they're valuable and what the sort of price range they could be sold at nowadays, just as an idea.
Right. Well, I'll tell you now that they are valuable. Bing Crosby is collectible. He's not collectible in a rock sense, but his early material, are such as, believe it or not, White Christmas, which is on the original version, which was on Brunswick, which was 03384, is now fetching about £6 or £7 a copy in mint condition. And of course, being recorded with so many different artists, you know, they recorded with Gary Crosby, Patty Andrews, Grace Kelly, Donald O'Connor, etc., etc. And those early ones, of course, are 78s. They weren't on 45s. Now, there is a specialist shops that deal with this kind of material. There's one actually just outside London, and there's one in Cheshire that handles this sort of thing as well. Where are you calling from, Mr. Barnett?
From Wombourne.
From?
Wombourne, just outside Wolverhampton.
Oh, I know Wombourne. It's beautiful around there. What a lovely part of the world you live. I suppose the nearest one is the one we've mentioned once before. That's the 78 record shop.
Yeah, I can also give you a phone number, actually, Mr. Barnett, because I slightly disagree with Mike here, that I've seen these Bing Crosby 78s. You did say 78s, didn't you?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, the 78s, the Bing Crosby 78s will only sell, quite frankly, I've seen them selling at record fairs for 75p to about £1 each. Now the singles, if they'd have been early singles, they would have been worth a lot more, but I can give you a name and you'll have to look up the number because I can never ever remember it, but this guy knows all about 78s, and he's a real expert. He's the type of guy who would have told you when the record came out and probably even who made the cup of tea during each session. So if you've got a pen and paper there,
yep.
Right, the guy's name is Christopher Siddons, which is Siddons.
Yep.
Christopher Siddons-Smith. So it's Siddons Smith, and it's a Formby in Lancashire number. Now, Director Inquiries will give you the number. In fact, we'll try and look it up ourselves later on. But he's the only Siddons Smith living in Formby in Lancashire, and he deals in 78s and swaps and buys and sells. He'll tell you everything about them. But I've seen him selling Bing Crosby stuff, the early stuff, as I say, about 75p to £1 each. A lot of that stuff, quite frankly, has been remastered onto albums. But there's a help for you. He'll probably tell you more than we can.
We're sort of having a slight disagreement on here because though Chris is, I agree with him up to a point, quite a lot of that stuff, just post-war stuff of Bing Crosby, it's in record collecting, it's where you sell the record that actually get you value.
As you know, the Bing Crosby Appreciation Society pays quite a lot of money for, and their members pay for items they're looking for. If you're looking for 78s, if you're looking to sell the record, there's only one way to sell those 78s and to fetch any realistic, good price, and that's through the collector magazines, which we've mentioned on this program before.
Yeah.
Often Crosby's material can be sold for 78s for £1 and so forth, but the early stuff after the war is. I know a couple of Crosby collectors myself, and for example, like Secret Love, they paid £10 a copy for, even on 78. For Secret Love, believe it or not. So it's like horses for courses. Generally speaking, 78s never fetch anything like the value of 45s. But this guy, Chris and I both know him, he's a specialist in 78s. He's got one of the largest 78 record collections I've ever seen. And so if you give Chris Siddon Smith, he'd probably say, what the heck are you ringing me for this time of night? But he's in Formby, Lancashire, or Formby, Merseyside, as I should say now, and he should be useful to you, Mr. Barnett.
Thank you.
Okay, then.
Also, I've got another one here, is a Tortoise Puddy Cap. That, again, is an old 78. I never heard it before.
I thought a Puddy Cap.
Yeah.
Yes, who's it by?
Benny Lee and Mary.
Oh yeah, that used to be on. That used to be on Saturday mornings. They used to play that on children's with Uncle Mac. Now that's showing my age because I can remember there used to be. I thought a Puddy Cat, Sparky's Magic Piano. This is Cause I Love Him. I think that's a great track. That Satisfactions, Daddy, You Just Gotta Let Him In. The one that Mike said, the Crystals in the morning. Murray Clayton, of course, who's been around a long time. The Exciters, He's Got the Power. I'm not sure how they got that in Dream Babies. I think I would have put that as myself in what I call mixed groups because generally, Dream Babies, it's all about girls. But there's another track by the Exciters, All Grown Up. The Crystals, When the Right Boy Comes Along. The Honeys, That's Nice If You're a Beach Boys collector. Written by Brian Wilson, of course, and arranged and produced by Brian Wilson. And that, by the way, was compiled by Alan Warner. And Alan Warner used to do all those American graffiti albums and things like that back in the 60s and 70s. Used to be with United Artists. But now for Capitol 1985, that was put out. And the number, if you want it, EG 26 05 73 1. How's about that?
Let's go back to our phones and let's see if we get hold of John Fellows from Shrewsbury. Hello, John.
Hello.
Well, we found you at long last.
Yeah. Another 78 question. It's a record that we used to play on Sunday afternoons round at the grandmother's on the wind-up gramophone, and it's called Don't Be Cruel to a Vegetable. And it's got a variety of puns in it, like if you please don't split peas, and don't forget the lettuce has a heart. And the words of it, or the record as well.
Right, it's good.
Will you love me tomorrow? Sort of things like that.
Oh, my
God. All right, you never know what's going to turn up next, do you? Anyway, different tracks there for sure, John. I don't know.
Well, let us get the information.
So we'll turn over a new leaf, John. And can you think of anything of those, Chris? Any thoughts on those records?
No, I can think of one or two puns. We just had one or two there. But, I think the best thing to do there is, have you got any, to ask first of all, John, have you got any more information, any idea of roughly the year or who did it or any ideas?
No, it must be 20 years since I've heard it, I suppose.
Right, so let's say it might be a bit older than that. Shall we say 30 years at the most? No, it must be more than that if it's 78, John.
Well, it's one with those, halfpenny stamps on, the tax on.
The plot thickens.
Yes, we're going way back. But it's called Don't Be Cruel to a Vegetable.
Yeah, or
right.
Vegetable.
Vegetable.
That had to be forced to make the rhyme.
Oh, yes. Right, well, listen, the best thing we can do, John, is I've already given out a little address that you can phone, somebody you can phone in Lancashire.
One. Yeah, I've got that address, yeah.
Yeah, you've got that one. But also, if you'd like to give us your telephone number, maybe somebody who's listening in tonight, the other listener might be able to give you a ring and at least give you a bit more information, because to be quite frank, as great as it sounds, that record, we just have no answer to it.
Mm-hmm.
So
I wouldn't mind playing it, John, this player, but I mean, it sounds interesting, that record, you know. I know Stuart Green, who's out there manning the phones this evening, his sort of, he collects those sort of records. I mean, anything obscure like that. Be nice to hear it. What's it sound like? Is it quite amusing?
Yes, I mean, it's, I suppose the humour's a little bit dated now. It's only a short one, about 2 minutes, something like that.
Yeah. Well, what's your number then, John? Because somebody might have a
Shrewsbury.
copy. It's Shrewsbury, which is 0743
240548.
240548.
Yep.
And it's called, we don't know the artist or the label, but it's a 78, and it's called Don't Be Cruel to a Vegetable.
Yeah, it'd be something like Regal Zonophone or something like that.
It probably is, John. Listen, if there's anybody out there, give us a ring, and here, right now, and let's see if we can identify that record for John Fellows. If you can, we'll put you on there. That's Shrewsbury 248321. Ring now if you can help on that record. Thanks very much indeed, John.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. That's John Fellows calling us from Shrewsbury. You're tuned to the Record Collectors, where the time is 8:30.
And of course, if John or the others don't have any luck tonight, we hope you do have a bit of luck with some information and things like that. As I say, the best person you can ring is C. Siddons Smith. They all call him Kit, by the way, which is short for Christopher, but it's Christopher Siddons Smith, and he's in Formby in Lancashire, and he's a private collector, and he knows all about 78s. I bet you if you give him a little ring, find him in the Direct Inquiries, he'll help you out. There you are.
I mean, all those things aren't vegetables. The great vegetable plot.
Yes, I think we'll have to make a few of those up.
Yeah, we will actually. I thought John asked for the green grass of lawn or something like that.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
never mind.
Yes. Are we going to repeat these quiz questions now, shall we?
What was
what are we on, the easy or the hard one?
I'll give you mine
Well,
now.
go on then.
Oh,
Yours is the easy one.
Listen,
you can only have a go at one of these.
He's
for
a
next week.
teacher. He's a teacher.
Yeah,
Hang on.
go on.
Pet Shop Boys. Put that parrot down. Right, the Pet Shop Boys. It says, right, and name me the EP the Pet Shop Boys did on Parlophone. I'll even give you the number, RD6140. And the first one here will get a prize, okay? And you write to Mike and Chris, and this applies to both questions. BBC Radio Shropshire, PO Box 397, Shrewsbury, SY1 3TT. Easy question.
Right, and here's the hard one. It's accepted that generally when a record makes number one in the American pop charts, it at least gets into the top 75 in Britain. In 1986, every record that went to number one in the States got into the charts in Britain, except for one. Which one?
Oh, well, that's it. Well, it was.
Well, no, you don't know. I can see the way you're looking at me.
I was actually looking at the next item. Actually, I was looking at what's going to play next.
Anyway, have a go at one or the other.
I know where you can get the answer from that. Because it was in a magazine.
You be quiet.
It's in a magazine over Christmas. No. Okay, Jackie Wilson, Chris. Let's have a blast from this, and then I'll play some records that British groups sang and recorded in Germany and played in Germany. I'll be featuring the Beatles and people like the Rattles. Remember the Rattles? That's a German.
Have you got the Searchers and Jerry Lee Lewis? They did some live stuff at the
I've got the
Star Club, didn't they?
I've got Ian and the Zodiacs, the Eyes, the Rattles, the Liver Birds. It says here, Hamburg, St. Paul, Gluten, Vriendheid, Zij en Nacht, he's standing, the Star Club.
Good. So I'm pleased to see you're doing it in your usual mid-Cheshire accent.
Precisely. Let's get on with some Jackie Wilson anyway.
Let's get on with one more record. But by the way, just before we come into Jackie Wilson, just to tell you, if you want to book your phone call for next week, we've been pretty hot on those phones tonight.
Yes.
You can always ring now and we'll take your number ready for next week. And it's 0743 248 321.
And listen, don't be cruel to a vegetable. We've had nobody, I thought. And listen, you do disappoint me out there. I mean, I thought one of you would have known the answer to that one. I mean, I thought you were, high caliber, I thought you were also like
we'll get there.
23 carat and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, but
Never mind.
If you don't ring in, we'll be like Jackie Wilson. You got us walking.
Shropshire Radio.
It is indeed. And of course, Jackie Wilson again, the man who's number one in the charts right now. You're tuned to the Record Collectors with Mike Adams and Chris Savory, where the time is 24 minutes to 9. The features tonight are groups that played the Star Club in Germany. And this one, let's go right over to the Star Club. Chris, this group, does it mean anything to you?
The Rattles, was that the group that later on did The Witch?
Correct, they did on Decca Records.
On Decca Records.
Well
Tell
done.
us a little bit about them.
Well, they played the Cavern Club in Liverpool, the very big group in Germany, of course, the Rattles were. They got mobbed when they played the Cavern Club. They were wearing leather gear, very, very like the Beatles in many ways. I think perhaps we go down into the Star Club, which was like the German version of the Cavern. Listen here, well, rather appropriate being the Rattles. Here is Hippie, Hippie Shake.
For goodness sake, I do the hippie hippie shake. Woo.
Yes, there we are, of course. That was the Rattles from Germany appearing at the Star Club. Now, the next track is...
Well, I was just going to ask, were they a Liverpool group?
No, they were a German group.
They were a German
they
group.
Were,
That's
from what I gather, two of the members were actually from Hamburg.
Yep.
They toured Britain. Primarily, they were on exchange with groups from Liverpool. And the exchange was that the Rattles came over here and the Beatles and the Searchers and so forth went over to Hamburg. There's a thing on the back of this album I've got here. It says Star Club Records. It says on here... So, to everybody at the Star Club Hamburg and everybody in Hamburg, all the best from your old mates, the Beatles, signed Paul McCartney, George Harrison, John Lennon and Ringo Starr. And under John Lennon's name, Betty. Look at that.
Let's have a look.
Hello. The plot thickens.
John Lennon, Betty, yes. I was going to ask something. Has much of this stuff been put out, actually, this live stuff? Because I remember picking something up that's not on this album. Oh, yes, it is. I've just seen it. Sweets for My Sweet came out on Philips.
It did
didn't
indeed,
it?
yes.
And it actually says live, I think live from the...
Yes,
and
that's
there's
quite
also
collectible.
a Jerry Lee Lewis single, which I
Yes.
remember also...
There's a live album, of course,
live.
from Hamburg. By,
Yeah.
very on Philips. Very collectible, that, Chris.
Yeah. Is there much else that's actually been put out on single live stuff? Because none of the Beatles have. It was My Bonnie.
Oh, yes, it was.
Was that actually...
It was issued, actually, on Polydor's You Know My Bonnie.
That was the live version?
But not this version.
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That the Beatles haven't had the live version issued.
Not as a
have they?
single. Not
No.
as a single. Was issued as a single, of course, in
Yeah.
studio version. And the Beatles did perform this song a lot. You know that John Lennon was a great fan of Phil Spector. And the record To Know Him Is To Love Him. The origins of that, Chris, go back to Phil Spector, isn't it? When he was with the Teddy Bears.
Yes, and that was, I think, the epitaph on his father's grave, wasn't it? To know him is to love him.
And this are the Decca recording sessions and the original recording by the Beatles of this record. So I'll let you hear a little bit of this. I don't think John could ever let this track go. Listen to this. There's a John Lennon's version of To Know Her Is To Love Her. And listen to the difference in the two recordings there, Chris, between the demo recording when they were auditioning for Decca and this one from Menlove Avenue, performed a lot in Germany.
For better reception, tune to 96 Stereo FM.
Well, you're tuned to the Record Collectors with Mike Adams and Chris Savory.
Yes, and I don't know. I think the difference. I don't know on that last track you found that you played there. I think Lennon sounded bored to me, whereas before he seemed to have a little bit of what I call youthful dynamite. I don't know. Maybe you disagree with me completely, but you said listen to the difference, and I listened to it, and I really liked the first, To Know Him Is To Love Him, and I thought, yeah, he's got a bit going there. But on that last one, it's really sounded like when can I get home for tea?
Did you? Well, I think it's just a different interpretation of the song. Did you see the McCartney special over Christmas before the actual Prince's Trust?
I didn't see it this time because it had bits added. I saw
It
it
had. It was
before,
marvellous.
because I had it video before, because I think it was on a Friday and we were here trying to watch it and broadcast at the same time, which was
Don't tell tales.
So there was a quick phone call home saying, "Will you put it on so I can watch it when I get home?" And
incidentally, fans,
I found that interesting.
Very quickly tell you now that after our program ends, we shouldn't really say this, but Bob Dylan is in concert at 9 o'clock tonight. I think it's on BBC Two.
That's right, and Barry was on, of course, today at 12:05. It's been a really great Christmas for all
so
these
listen,
collectible artists.
those of you, the rich ones, who've got video recorders, get yourself prepared because Dylan is in concert from 9 to 10 on BBC Two this evening. Right. Well, you had two versions of that. Performed a lot, of course, in Germany, and of course, this group were very big in Germany. This is how they announced them on stage.
Es sind unsere Searchers aus Liverpool.
Dankeschön. Wiedersehen. That, of course, was The Searchers live in Hamburg.
That was the one I was talking about earlier
Yes,
on.
not a bad recording,
now
is it?
No, that's quite good. Now I do know that's come out as a single. So what's that worth as a single?
It's actually
Philips,
it's
wasn't it?
about a fiver. About a fiver. It's quite hard. Yeah, about £5. I mean, they were really the Searchers were such a good group because they split up now. Of course, we have the Searchers and we have. As you know, anyway, we all know that.
Yeah, so it's also interesting that it came out on Philips, whereas one generally associates, even at that time, the Searcher stuff, of course, being Pi.
Yes, of course, on Pi Records and their early records. There's the Searchers and the I remember that LP so well, and the EP with Love Potion and Banana.
Yes,
that seems to be everywhere. That EP, very popular at record fairs, and doesn't fetch very much.
No, it's a shame really. They did some nice tracks. In fact, sometime maybe worth a special on their own, the Searchers.
Yeah, maybe we should. Now listen, if you'd like to take part in this programme, I mean, why not? Live dangerously. New Year. Why don't you write to Mike and Chris, care of BBC Radio Shropshire, PO Box 397 Shrewsbury, SY1 3TT. Say what you're interested in. It doesn't have to be sort of like Sixers material. So I know we have been in the Sixers a bit this evening, but it can be anything you like. And providing it's legal, we'll play it. And you're very welcome to take part in the programme. So write to us. We will only answer those people that write to us. And if you want to reply, please put a stamped address envelope in it, because we have to pay for all the postage ourselves. Believe it or believe it not. Here are the Beatles live in Hamburg. There we are, the Beatles live in Hamburg, playing really rare tracks tonight of the Record Collectors.
When was that first issued, Mike?
Crikey.
That must have been about 60... Was that a recording about 61?
61, about 61, yes.
Yeah.
It was issued, actually, on the... let me have a quick thing. That came out in the late 60s, I think, when it first saw light of day. Because it came out on bootleg. I'm talking about trying to think out when it first came out legally. The birth of the Beatles. I'm trying to think when it first... You caught me there. I have to have a think about that. It came... I got mine on an imported copy, so... and then, of course, there were the tapes that were done by the first live recordings. Remember those? They were they're quite rare. That came in a double album that came out.
Yep.
And they have been subsequently... That would be about, if I recall, sometime in the 70s when that double album came out.
Yeah.
Over here, it was the early 70s.
Yeah.
I have got the record at home, I could easily check.
Can I catch you out on another one? Can I ask you about a group that I know performed at the Star Club, Lee Curtis and the All-Stars?
Yes, a great group, Lee Curtis and the All-Stars.
Liverpool?
No.
No.
I think Lee Curtis played a lot in Liverpool, and he was known in Liverpool. I think he was born over the water, as they say in Liverpool.
In France?
No, over the water, like there, Chris, over the water. Isn't it the Isle of Dogs? Not the Isle of Dogs. Over the water, I think it's Birkenhead, actually.
Ah, I see that.
I suppose to you, that's very much the same, you see, very much the same.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to, because we haven't got much time left. It's sort of 6 minutes to 9 o'clock. Here we've got What's Name waiting with his organ at 9 o'clock.
That's
Got to
right.
move off, yes. So, where's one going to play next? What do you want, Lee? What do you want me to play?
Lee Curtis and the All-Stars. Record that's been done by a lot of people, from Clive McFatter to Johnny Kidd, the Shot of Rhythm and Blues.
Need a shot of rhythm and blues. Lee Curtis and the All-Stars. And we'll be featuring British groups and the Rattles playing their songs in Germany. Squeeze one in very quickly.
Right, yes. I've got a very, very quick message to Ralph Edwards.
Come home, all is forgiven.
Shrewsbury.
Come home, all is forgiven.
Come home is all is forgiven. And could you